Good evening. Here's what's coming up on NTV tonight. Tonight,
chini ya kitanda nikagunia. Nigunia. Mimi nikaona ameniangalia, nikamuuliza kwa nini? Akaniambia jipe nguvu kuja.
A heinous discovery in Kiserian sparks equally grim concerns.
Umbwa ametolewa ngozi. Hii ni itikadi.
Also tonight, arrests are in the pipeline.
There's a lot of theft at the KPC.
Investigators follow the trail of pilferage at the troubled Kenya Pipeline Company. Also ahead, the DPP makes the case for his special prosecutor.
We had expected that by the end of the year, we will have completed.
As he closes in on suspects in cocktail of big money corruption scandal. And all hail the Marathon King.
Male athlete of the year, Eliud Kipchoge.
It's another jewel in the crown for Eliud Kipchoge, the greatest ever.
NTV Tonight with Olive Burrows.
Welcome to the program. Our sign language interpreter tonight is David Agondoa. The government says it has frozen bank accounts worth 300 million shillings and property valued at 2 billion shillings that belongs to NYS scam suspects. Muthoni Kimani of the Assets and Recovery Team says the funds were traced to individuals implicated in the case whose prosecution is before the court. At the same time, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Nuruddin Haji, says the prosecution of Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu is on course. They were speaking when they appeared before the Senate Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. NTV Silas Apollo reports.
Director of Public Prosecutions Nuruddin Haji and the Head of Assets and Recovery Team Muthoni Kimani were today before a Senate committee to give an update on the ongoing war on graft. They told the Senate committee that the war on corruption was on course after the arrest and prosecution of suspects, with more expected in court in the coming days.
Senator Orenga said that
money stolen and properties purchased from the loot have also been recovered, while others have been frozen awaiting the completion of ongoing investigations.
We've been able to, in terms of cash, there is about, frozen in bank accounts, there's like 300 million in bank accounts. In terms of properties where we have restricted is more than 2 billion shillings, the assets.
Haji says his office is in the process of seeking the arrest of more suspects in the NYS case, the National Cereals and Produce Board maize scam, and the Kenya Pipeline scandal.
The next NCPB case is coming by the end of this week. So there is one that is on the way. We are also going to prosecute NHIF and KPC too.
The DPP made the remarks even as his office today announced that it had hired 3 lawyers to help in the prosecution of graft cases.
The Office of the Director of Public Prosecution.
The 3, who include former Director of Public Prosecutions Philip Murgo, former Mombasa Mayor Taib Ali Taib, and lawyer James Muruthi Kihara, were picked from a pool of 15 applicants who had applied for the job. At the Senate, Haji also defended his decision to appoint Queen's Counsel Hawar Kurashi to lead corruption cases. He says Kurashi has been appointed to help in the prosecution of the case against Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu.
He's not coming here to handle corruption cases, all of them. He's coming for a particular case, and that is the case of the DCJ.
Mwilu is facing charges of tax evasion and abuse of office, accusations she has termed as part of witch hunt to kick her out of office.
Orengo forgot to
Haji and Kimani had been invited alongside Attorney General Paul Kihara, Director of Criminal Investigations George Kinoti, and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, all part of the multi-agency team set up by President Uhuru Kenyatta to fight corruption. Earlier, members of the committee had put the team to task to explain the source of some of the leakages in ongoing corruption cases, which ended up in the media.
The person is tried in public before the case reaches court because of either the statements your office is issuing, or sometimes I think there are leakages.
Attorney General Kihara also asked the Senate committee to help draft laws that would help the team carry out its mandate better, a request the committee agreed to. Today's session comes in the backdrop of a mounting public pressure on the office of the DPP and even the DCI to recover all lost public funds, expectations that the multi-agency team says it hopes to meet. Silas Apollo, NTV.
And that story informs our opinion count question tonight. We ask, do you support the DPP's decision to hire Queen's Counsel Kawar Qureshi to lead corruption cases against Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu? Do you support the DPP's decision to hire Queen's Counsel Kawar Qureshi to lead corruption cases against Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu? Send your thoughts to 20686. Start your answer with either a yes or a no, depending on where you lie. You can also send your thoughts through on @NTV Kenya. A man has been jailed for 5 years after he was found guilty of impersonating Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission officers. Duncan Bunduki Bundi was arrested in November of 2010. The court had that Bundi had on several occasions threatened and intimidated members of the public with arrest for alleged corruption and economic crime offences while attempting to extort financial benefits from them. Addressing the court, the magistrate said that the prosecution had proven beyond reasonable doubt that Bundi impersonated a senior EACC official. The accused was given a 14 days right of appeal. The Ministry of Petroleum and Mining was today holed up in a meeting for the better part of the day following the resignation of the Kenya Pipeline Company Managing Director Joe Sang and pending investigations into alleged pilferage of more than 2 billion shillings. But even as this development comes to light, questions linger over the scandal-ridden state-owned company and the high turnover rate of managing directors within the last 2 decades. NTV's Kennedy Mureithi looks at the company's tumultuous past.
For more than an hour early Wednesday, the Senate Committee on Energy waited for Petroleum and Mining CS John Munyes, whom they wanted to answer audit queries touching on the running of Kenya Pipeline Company, only to be told that the CES was in an emergency meeting discussing the sudden resignation of the Kenya Pipeline Managing Director Joe Sang as investigations into irregular procurement, pilferage of public money and grand corruption are sanctioned. Joe Sang is said to have handed over his resignation letter at a board meeting Tuesday morning, noting that he will not be seeking a fresh term at the expiry of his tenure in March next year. But ghosts of what has befallen the pipeline company are not about to let him rest. Currently, the oil company is facing allegations of corrupt dealings in the awarding of a tender to build the A5 pipeline from Mombasa to Nairobi, where it is believed that about 1 billion shillings was lost in dubious ways, and an oil spillage scandal where 11.6 million litres of fuel were inexplicably lost and suspected stolen. The latest scandal at the Kenya Pipeline Company of about 2 billion shillings now has 3 committees of parliament, that is both at the National Assembly and at the Senate, promising to get to the bottom of it.
There's a lot of theft at the KPC.
There was an initial demand of $38 million on top of that by the contractor, where KPC has gone and paid an extra $14 million over and above the contract sum.
There was a repetitive variations which has been done over the years, particularly on the way the variations was done, and 5 of the variations were as a result of inability and technical evaluation done by the KPC.
11 oil marketing companies accusing the KPC of trying to transfer the cost of fictitious oil spillage appeared before the National Assembly Energy Committee and told the MPs they were unfairly charged and wanted a special audit, which they were granted despite differences on duration and timing of audit exercise.
We basically rejected their proposal to charge the stolen or lost product to the OMCs in totality.
Joe Sang is, however, a man under siege, even in his retirement, as most of the ills being pointed at happened during his reign, including the procuring of Zakim International, a company that built the Mombasa-Nairobi pipeline, and their demand of over 20 billion shillings in extra compensation.
But it is rather unfortunate that one company, which when you look at the books, they seem to be making money, but there's a lot of other things which are not being controlled. So we just want everything to be clear.
Sang joins a list of managing directors who have left the company with scandals dogging them in the last 2 decades. They include his immediate predecessor, Charles Tunui, who left in 2015 after he was accused of fraud. Celeste Kilinda, who left in 2013 after he was accused of nepotism. George Okungu, who left in 2009, having been accused of fraud. Dr. Shem Ochodho, who left in 2005, facing fraud charges. Dr. Linus Cheruiyot, who served between 2001 and 2004, facing fraud charges. And Ezekiel Komen, who was also accused of fraud. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV at Parliament Buildings.
Residents of Vietnam area of Kiserian, Kajiado County suspect that the discovery of a decomposing body of a minor and that of 6-year-old Angel Wangoi is linked to a newly formed cult popular among the youth. DNA testing on the remains of the unknown minor is ongoing, with the family in Rongai suspicious that the body may be that of their loved one. Charity Mwangi reports.
The discovery of a dead body inside a well at the Vietnam area in Kiserian came as a shock to many. The news seemed to have already reached everyone we encountered. But it was at the home of Milkan Jerry, mother to the late Angel Wangoi, that the pain of the loss of a child was evident. Wangoi went missing on Friday last week, 4 days before the recent discovery.
Nikakaa like 15 minutes nikauliza Julie sijaona mtoto, na mtoto akiniona na nikimbiliaka kwani mtoto wako wapi.
She would later be discovered at the home of one of the suspects, Robin Gitao, who was in the company of the child earlier on the day of her disappearance.
Nikawaambia venye mwetuambilia mtoto alibebwa na ni Robin, na ni hivyo, ni kweli alibebwa na Robin na amemweka kwa gunia, kwa hivyo inamaanisha amemuua.
Njeri would later learn that her innocent girl had been defiled and chopped into several parts, with her clothes dumped inside a pit latrine. She says that there were many items in the pit, an indication that there were many unidentified cases.
Amekatwa kichwa na mguu, though mimi sikumuona hata sasa city mocha tu venye nimeambiwa nimuone, mimi tu nimeona tu venye alikuwa ameshukwa, nimeogopa kumwangalia, lakini ni yeye.
NTV visited the home of the suspect, which was a dead end, as the family refused to give their account of the matter. And for good reasons, because prior to Gitao's arrest, members of the public had attacked him and the police had to rescue him from residents who were baying for his blood.
Chiefs wako, police wako,
A gathering at the scene revealed the great concern with which the community was treating the matter. Most here suspect that the killings are cultic.
Mtoto kuuawa na kuchinjwa, mtu kunywa damu ya mtoto, huyu sio binadamu wa kawaida.
They spoke of prior events that appear to support this theory, saying that the community fears for the next generation.
Sasa huyu mumemzaa, anajulikana mama yake na yeye anajulikana, si ni shetani ya hapa.
The same concern did not seem to resonate with the area OCS Lucy Karemi, who alongside Kajiado OCPD Joseph Mwika and Kajiado County Commander refused to give an official statement about it. The OCPD and the County Commander did not make it to the meeting.
Police at the Kiserian police station said that they are investigating the matter. They said that there's a high likelihood that the victims are not from here, denying the fact that the discovery is a reflection of the security situation in the area. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
President Uhuru Kenyatta now says he will not sign into law a bill that would give MPs more money in salaries and allowances. The president's stand is the clearest indicator yet of his position on the controversial bill that MPs are hoping to pass before they go on recess. The Parliamentary Service Commission Bill 2018 seeks to, among other things, stop the Salaries and Remuneration Commission from setting their salaries and enhance their allowances.
The MPs are hoping to pass the bill that will see them go home with heavier pockets before the House goes on recess for the holidays.
Recommendations in the name of...
It is a matter that could be on the floor of the House on Thursday, but while the MPs are sure to rally behind the bill, The man whose signature will give life to the lawmakers' lofty financial dreams says he will not be appending his signature to that piece of intended legislation.
Kuna mambo ingine watu wanajaribu kupitisha huko bunge, na mimi vile nimesikia wananchi wakisema, wanasema wamechoka na hii mambo ya viongozi kujiongeza mshahara.
The president says the MPs are failing to read the mood of the people who have largely opposed the attempts to fatten the MPs' wallets.
Mimi nasema mimi naungana na wananchi.
It isn't the first time the president has expressed his reservations on the move to increase the wage bill. Barely 2 weeks ago, he also told off the MPs on the same sentiments that have also been shared by opposition leader Raila Odinga, who termed the move as insensitive.
Mr. Speaker,
the opposition to the move notwithstanding, MPs have remained adamant that they will pass this bill. The bill seeks to increase the legislators' benefits, including house allowance, car loans, and the setting up of a special fund in all of the constituencies in the country that will be used for monitoring and evaluation of national government projects. Brenda Wanga, NTV.
This week has been a tough one for a number of parents and their children who are looking forward to joining Form 1 next year. This is because they are not pleased with the schools that children have been admitted to. But the Ministry of Education maintains that there will not be a second selection. On the other hand, the chairman of the National Parents Association, Nicholas Mayo, is urging parents to accept the schools selected for their children, as all of them cannot fit in the renowned top national schools. NTV's education reporter Sharon Baranga with those details.
Vincent Makworo emerged the best in the 2018 KCPE in Kitutu Chache South Sub-County in Kisii County. Vincent scored 423 and had hopes of joining Lenana or Alliance High School. But his dreams were shattered after he received an admission letter from a school he did not expect.
I had selected Alliance Boys, Lenana, Moi, and Mang, but I was called to Tenwek High School. I selected it because I heard that people are talking good of it. They were saying that it's the best school in our country, and so I wished to go to the best school in our country.
But failing to join his dream school is not at the top of the list of his worries. Vincent lost his father early this year. His mother is not in a position to raise his school fee.
Ukipata mtu mwenye atapenda kumchukua shuleni nitaweza kupali. Juu sina kitu yoyote, nikikataa sina kitu yoyote, hata nitaweza mpeleka hata sipi hapo juu. Sina kitu hata kabisa.
Vincent's concern is similar to that of Natalie Burgay, who scored 417 from Nandi.
I was hoping to go to Kenya High School or Mpangani, but I was not selected to go to those schools. I'm still hoping to join a better school than what I was told to.
These students are among many who continue to record their displeasure at the schools they have been directed to join. However, the chair of the National Parents Association, Nicholas Mayo, is urging parents to accept the schools their children have been asked to join, as all of them cannot fit in the top national schools that are well known.
It's not practical that Mangu or Nairobi school can take all the choices of the boys. Because in Nairobi school, for example, they got more than 5,000. And boys wanted to be admitted in that school, 5,000 of them. And the school, the capacity of the school is 550. Over 10,000 children chose Kenya High, but the capacity is only 600.
The Ministry of Education maintains that there won't be a second selection. All Form 1 students are expected to report to their respective schools between 7th and 11th January. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
A reminder of our opinion count question tonight. It is, do you support the DPP's decision to hire Queen's Counsel Kawar Qureshi to lead corruption cases against Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu? The responses we have so far are 75% of you say yes, they support that particular decision, while 25% of you say no. That is the tally as it currently stands. On Twitter, Aline Bet says yes, someone from outside will be hard to be influenced by local cartels, and he might help the DPP win the war on corruption. That is Bet from Eldoret. Send through your thoughts on 20686 or on @NTV Kenya, and remember to start your response with either a yes or a no, and please include your name and where you're reaching out from. Now it's time for a break. Thank you for staying with NTV tonight. All civilians who hold guns now have 90 days starting the 17th of this month to surrender them for inspection and for fresh registration. The Ministry of Interior also announced that all National Police reservists will be audited afresh and that biometric details are stored in a national database. These measures are part of the changes that the Ministry of Interior is making at the Firearms Licensing Board, which was previously marked by corruption and mismanagement. Leila Mohammed with the update.
The Interior Ministry has now trained its sights on all civilian gun holders in the country. All those with firearms are required to surrender them and the registration certificates for fresh vetting. And that's not all. The Firearms Licensing Board will be checking.
We have 4 categories of things that we want to check. The first one is the firearms. The second one are the armored vehicles. The third one are the shooting ranges, and the fourth one are the protective clothing that people do, because those basically are items that need to be controlled.
This will be the Firearms Licensing Board first target as it settles into office to streamline the process of acquiring and using firearms. Despite stiff penalties in the Firearms Act of 2015, the tide of illegal firearms in the hands of civilians remains unchecked. The Act prohibits civilians from buying, assembling any firearms, ammunition or armored vehicles without a valid certificate. Contravening this law can earn one a jail term of between 7 and 15 years. The Act also prohibits the sale, testing, repair of any firearms by anyone who is not a registered firearms dealer. Anyone who breaches this law could serve a jail term of between 5 and 10 years.
Observation over the years is that there has been a lot of weakness in the way the licensing has been taking place, in the way that the supervision has been taking place, both for the dealers, both for the importers, both for the holders, and therefore we want to create new regulations and new procedures that will ensure that we clean up our country of illegal firearms.
Currently, there are between 12,000 to 15,000 firearms registered with the board, but international security organizations estimate that there may be about 750,000 illegal arms in the hands of civilians. The ministry now says all preferential certification or special considerations given to specific civilian firearm holders can be repealed.
There is no private holder, regardless of the threat, who is supposed to have an AK-47. But the truth is, we have seen some people holding them and flashing to us licensing. Whether you have a license or not, as long as you are holding a firearm that's not meant for private citizens, then we will confiscate it.
The vetting process will assess one's physical and mental status, as well as the need to own a gun. They will also assess one's shooting abilities. All information will be central database, and those who will have passed the stringent test will be issued with certificates, which appears like an ordinary identity card. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
Just a day after the ODM party's disciplinary committee recommended expulsion of Msambweni Member of Parliament Suleiman Dori and his Malindi counterpart Aisha Juma from the party, Dori today, accompanied by the National Assembly Minority Whip Junet Mohammed, visited ODM party leader Raila Odinga at his office in what appeared to be an attempt to mend fences.
Less than 24 hours after the ODM disciplinary committee recommended his expulsion from the party for gross misconduct, Msambweni legislator Suleiman Dori seemed to have sought help from National Assembly Minority Whip Junet Mohammed, a move that enabled him to visit ODM party leader Raila Odinga at his Capitol Hill office to try and save himself from the imminent expulsion. In the meeting, Dori was accompanied by Kilifi North legislator Owen Baya and Kisauni MP Ali Mbogo. However, this meeting has raised eyebrows, coming just after the decision of the disciplinary committee to expel the Dori.
It is unacceptable for any party member, whether you are a member of parliament or an MCA, not to follow the party rules and regulations and to advance any interest other than the interest of the party, which is ODM. And the issues that has been, the matters as recommended by the disciplinary committee now are before the National Executive Committee of the party. And a decision will be made in January on how we are going to deal with that matter by the neck of the party.
Junet Mohammed has warned members of ODM who used the historic March 9th handshake between Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta as an excuse to support interests of other parties and individuals against it. For quite some time now, Dori and Jumwa have been associating with Deputy President William Ruto, vowing to support his 2022 presidential bid.
So hii kiongozi wetu kuungana na Rais Uhuru ni tofauti kuliko hii nyingine ambaye ya matembezi na maziara ambaye haieleweki. So these issues of going round the country and talking about 2022 and supporting so and so for president is not part of the handshake. So nobody should use the handshake as an excuse to go and advance the interest of other parties or other individuals who want to run for presidency. The handshake was not party to that kind of politics.
The disciplinary committee recommended the 2 legislators and 7 other members of county assembly be expelled from the party for gross misconduct, acts of violence and disobeying the party's resolutions. Vincent Odur, NTV.
Some of your responses to our opinion count question tonight. Samuel Musungu says, yes, the Kenyan judicial system is skewed and cannot be trusted in handling corruption cases that involve the rich and powerful. Karanja Hari Kariuki just says yes, while Kipngeno Patrick says, yes, I do support his appointment. I think it will pin down government corrupt officials. We take another short break. Time now for business. The government is in the process of establishing a national food safety authority that will regulate the quality and safety of food products in the market. While there are already a handful of food safety regulators in the market, the Agriculture Ministry says the authorities have been scattered across different sectors, which makes them inefficient.
How many Kenyans are dying daily because of being fed by pesticides? How many Kenyans are dying today because of mismanagement of these sectors? Because true to it, there is a cow being injected now, and that cow will be milked in the evening. Right now, as we speak, there are vegetables that are being sprayed somewhere, and they will be in the market tonight. And this must be stopped. We must come up with the National Food Safety Authority to save our people. So that you must pray by the rule. And you can be able to follow up and know who is feeding Kenyans with poison.
Kenya Airways has for the second time postponed the launch of direct flights between Nairobi and Mogadishu. The indefinite postponement is due to delays in getting the additional airline and operational requirements for the flights between the two destinations. The airline had initially set November 15th as the launch date, but postponed that to December the 5th. This latest action points to a fluid situation whose resolution may be a protracted matter. Central Bank Governor Dr. Patrick Njoroge has been appointed to the United Nations Digital Financing Task Force of the Sustainable Development Goals. The appointment was made by the UN Secretary General Antonio Gutierrez. The task force was launched on November 29th by Gutierrez. It will recommend strategies to harness the potential of digital finance and financial technology to advance the SDGs. Globally, technology has helped expand financial inclusion to 1.2 billion people in just 6 years. The cost of retraining graduates in Kenya has continued to swell. The cost of doing business with 65% of employers saying they are forced to spend between 20,000 and 100,000 shillings to retrain a batch of fresh graduates in order to produce the desired output in their firms. This is according to the latest skills mismatch survey report conducted by the Federation of Kenya Employers, which is urging the government to introduce policy guidelines and review the curriculum at universities so as to meet labor needs in the country. Here's Lilian Kiarie with more insight on the state of the labor sector.
The report detailing the depth of skills mismatch in the Kenyan job market reveals that diplomas and certificates are slowly being phased out of the market, with more graduates having degrees to an extent that has seen over 39% of office clerks and 30% of secretaries also holding degrees. There is a sharp increase of employees rushing to acquire a master's degree, making them overqualified for the positions they hold. For instance, 36% of employees, particularly in the fields of finance and consulting and strategy, are settling for positions that only require an undergraduate degree, despite having master's degrees and years of experience.
We then asked the employers what are the suggestions they'd like to make to the various academic institutions, and the top of it is you need to offer more practical skills at 29%. The other recommendation is there's a need to offer internships and industrial attachments to the students before they leave the university. There's an 11% who are talking about reviewing the curriculum and basically saying, can we review the curriculum to ensure that the courses are relevant to the job market? And you can see they're saying review the curriculum to ensure that the courses are relevant to the market.
The report reveals that the most applied job positions across various sectors in Kenya are in the fields of accounting at 28%, sales and marketing at 14%, office clerks at 11%, engineering at 9%, and technical at 8%. On the other hand, the jobs with the fewest applications were in business management at 12%, human resource at 7%, electrical engineering at 4%, cleaners at 4%, and casual laborers at 4%. To mitigate the issue, the government is keen to turn into reality one of its long-awaited policies.
The National Employment Authority has been tasked with coming with a national internship policy for the country. We already have an internship policy that is now being discussed at cabinet level.
The lack of requisite skills and experience has seen employers struggle to fill in the positions of business administrators and managers in their organizations. Lillian Kierie, NTV Business.
That's it for business. Welcome back. A senior assistant chief, John Cheseret, who is in charge of Jabali sublocation in Moi Bridge area, is a man in distress. The senior assistant chief claims to have suffered an arson attack that cost him millions of shillings in property lost because of fighting the use of illicit brew in his sublocation. NTV's Eldoret Bureau reporter Lois Wangoi tells us that the administrator insists he is staying the course and will not be intimidated.
At the weekend, Senior Assistant Chief John Cheseret addressed a high-profile security baraza at Moi's Bridge area. In his address, he noted the rise in consumption of illicit brews in his sublocation Jabali. That was the start of his woes.
Pia niliweza kushughulika na officers wetu wa polisi kutoka Ziwa, nikawaagiza waje nyumbani Jabali kwa ajili ya kupiga vita pombe haramu.
That alarm caused a police operation that lasted 2 days in Jabali sublocation, and one that saw hundreds of liters of illicit brew and drinking dens destroyed. But just when the assistant chief was about to call it a day on the matter, he suffered an arson attack in his farm.
So mimi nashuku kazi hii imefanyika na wala ambao ni wagemaji. So tunashuku kazi hii imetokana na mambo ya kupigana vita na drug and substance pamoja na illicit brew.
Cheseret lost about 300 bags of maize, 10 bags of beans and building material, all worth about 1.5 million Kenyan shillings. Now his community wants to assist him to start his life afresh.
So tumepanga tujaribu kuchangia hii familia hapo tarehe 14 mwezi wa 12 ndio tuweze kusaidia watoto wao waende shule, wapate chakula, warudi kwa maisha yao ya kawaida.
In the line of duty, the senior assistant chief's brush with the public has seen him lose all of his investments. He, however, says he will not stop in the fight against illicit brews.
Hao ambao wanatengeneza chang'aa, busaa na wanaotumia bangi kwa sasa. Sasa vita vikali sasa imeanza.
Lois Wangoi, NTV, in the county of Uasin Gishu.
Let's look at where we stand with regard to our opinion count question tonight, which is, do you support the DPP's decision to hire Kawar Qureshi to lead prosecution of the DCJ? And so far, we stand at 77.8% of you who say yes and 22.2% of you who say no. And if we look at some of the messages that have come in, this gentleman, rather Mudhoni from Loresho, says, yes, sorry, as an ordinary Kenyan, there is no way I can entrust our own lawyers with a case of this magnitude. An outsider will be both open-minded and impartial. That is Mudhoni from Loresho. We also have another response from Nairobi as well. And this gentleman says, yes, only such a person can prosecute big fish. Mwilu may be called Philomena, but she is no Omena. That is Jory in Nairobi. Keep sending through your responses to that question. The number again is 20686. Time now for the sports with Brian Otwal.
Nyasa Bullets 4-3 on penalties in the Blantyre. Gor carried a 1-0 advantage to Malawi and had the goal cancelled out by Rodwell Chiengetere. Converting all their first 4 takes, however, the Kenyan champions edged Bullets 4-3 with Boniface Oluoch saving one and ensuring Bullets' last kick hit the crossbar. Gor will now take on Nigeria's Lobby Stars next week. Meanwhile, Kariobangi Sharks thrashed Atasola 7-3-0 in Djibouti to ease through to the first round of the CAF Confederations Cup 9-1 on aggregate. Sharks will face Ghanaian giants Asante Kotoko with the first leg slated between the 14th of December and 16th at the Babayara Sports Stadium in Kumasi. And Kenya's World Marathon record holder Eliud Kipchoge is the 2018 IAAF Male Athlete of the Year. The World Marathon record holder and Olympic champion became the second Kenyan to win the award after David Rudisha won it in 2010. Kenya's Beatrice Chepkoech lost out in the Female Athlete of the Year award.
The IAAF Male Athlete of the Year, Eliud Kipchoge.
Kenya's marathon record holder Eliud Kipchoge was named the IAAF Male Athlete of the Year in Monaco. The Olympic champion shattered the world marathon record by 78 seconds as he completed the Berlin Marathon in 2 hours, 1 minute and 39 seconds, which was the biggest improvement in the record since Australian Derek Clayton in 1967.
Nice photograph with our IAAF Male Athlete of the Year winner.
Kipchoge had also won the London Marathon in what proved to be a sensational year.
I want to actually say thank you also to Global Sports. They have exposed my career, and I'm able now to show to all that if you believe in yourself and work hard, you can achieve more.
Meanwhile, Colombian jumper Catherine Ibagen beat Kenyan 3,000 meters steeplechase world record holder Beatrice Chepkoech to the Female Athlete of the Year award. Ibagen won the long jump and triple jump titles in the IAAF Continental Cup and at the IAAF Diamond League finals, winning the latter 2 titles in 2 different cities within the space of 24 hours.
Winners of the year, Catherine and Eliud, you will turn to your right and go and do your media duties.
Pole vaulter Armand Duplantis beat Kenya's Ronex Kipruto to the Rising Star Award, while American hurdler Sydney McLaughlin was the best rising female athlete. And the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Interior, Karanja Kibicho, along with Sports PS Ambassador Kirimi Kaberia, have assured Kenyans that Nyayo National Stadium will be ready to host the Jamhuri Day celebrations, with sports seemingly being an afterthought. Kibicho spoke after inspecting the country's second largest stadium, which has been under renovations for the Jamhuri Day celebration. The stadium was closed since last year due to renovations that were initially supposed to be done for Kenya, the Kenya ill-fated bid for the 2018 CHAN tournament. Once complete, the stadium will be all-seater with a roof all round and will be fitted with lifts in the VIP section.
We are satisfied as a ministry, as a team that is tasked in the preparation of national celebrations. We are very satisfied and confident that on Wednesday next week we will be able to manage the 30,000 plus capacity of Kenyans who will be here to celebrate with us the Jamhuri Day.
And the Kenya Sevens technical bench has made a slight change to the squad that will take part in this weekend's Cape Town Sevens set for this weekend. Jeff Oluoch has flown home to attend to personal matters, while KCB's Vincent Onyala and Cyprian Kuto of Homeboys joined the team. Kenya lost all their matches, finishing at the bottom of the log, winning just 1 point in the Dubai leg. The transitional team is captained by Aiden Aguero and will be hoping to post their first win of the season in South Africa. And FC Leopards gear to kick off the 2019 KPL campaign against Kariobangi Sharks on Sunday without their coach Nikola Kavazovic, who is said to have left to take up a new job with Free State Stars of South Africa, while new signing Zambian player Shadrack Chimanga also left. Former CEO Richard Ekalia and ex-official Vincent Shimoli, who are seeking to vie for the position of chairmanship, have urged the club members to turn out in large numbers in Machakos for the match as they chart the way forward.
Klabu yetu ina matatizo mengi sana. Na hii matatizo imeonekana ofisi iliyoko inachangia ama ingine ni wachezaji ama watu wengine wanachangia. Ningesema kusema hivi, singependelea watu wale wengine wanaogombania hii kiti wasisitize ya kwamba hii ofisi iliyoko itoke. Mimi nataka ofisi iliyoko iendelee, imalize muda wake, ndio sasa election ifanyike mwezi wa 6. Ni kitu ajabu sana. Gor Mahia inatupiga mara 5 mfululizo. Paka sasa zingine unashindwa mimi nitoka wapi? Ule alikuwa anatupiga mara 2, ya 3, ya 4 tumempiga, si ndio?
What we are seeing here is that an office that is illegally constituted, because it's talking of 3 officials and there are 10. The 3 that have been outlawed, members were not involved. So the only way we will have operationalized that is through an election, which has not happened.
Well, it's Premier League night as well. Manchester United taking on Arsenal at Old Trafford, and the results of that we'll be giving you in our subsequent bulletins tomorrow. But I hand you back to Olive.
Thank you, Atwal. And drum rolls, please. We have the final tally and the ayes have it. The question being, do you support the DPP's decision to hire Queen's Counsel Kawar Qureshi to lead the prosecution of the Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu? And as I said, the blues have it, the ayes have it. 77.8% of you say yes, and 22.2% of you say no. So here's a comment from a gentleman who calls himself an ordinary Kenyan. Okay, it appears to have hung, but they say yes, sorry, as an ordinary Kenyan, there is no way, I had read it, that they can trust the local prosecutors to handle such big fish. Another person says yes, only such a person can prosecute big fish. But somebody says no, a waste of Mwananchi's tax, nothing will come out of it. That is 77.8% of you saying yes, and 22.2% saying no. It appears the DPP has the greater backing of a majority of you. Well, that's it for NTV Tonight. My name is Olive Burrows, and our sign language interpreter has been David Agondoa. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.